Hello everyone, it's your boy Rainbow. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year, happy 2026. And yeah, let's get straight into it. But before we begin, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. But anyway, happy New Year, happy 2026 if you've made it this far. I know 2025 has been a very eventful year, but unfortunately, I will have to say it was very dark. A lot of tragedies happened this year. It was very destructive, but I believe that if I had two words to describe 2025, it would have been revolution and dark. And I'll explain in a little bit why that is. But if you guys would like to check last year's video and reflection on 2024, I will leave that in the description below. I'm going to more talk about my reflections on 2025 and just sort of give you guys some more advice for 2026. So the reflection for 2025, as I mentioned before, the two words that I would use to describe 2025 are dark and revolution. Dark because it was riddled with tragedies. However, those tragedies can lead us to revolution. As of the recording of this video, today is Diwali, and the story of Diwali involves the story of Lord Ram and Sita. On this occasion of this auspicious holiday of Diwali, Diwali is the festival of lights, meaning the triumph of good over evil. And so the reason why that is, I won't get into the whole Ramayana, but the Ramayana is the whole epic, the whole story of the journey between Lord Ram and Ma Sita. Now, Lord Ram was a prince, and he was about to inherit the throne. However, one of his three mothers actually cursed him to exile for 13 years so that her son Bharat could take the throne. And she basically exiled her own son into the forest for 13 years. And he eventually had to abandon his royal life. And his wife, Sita, who was also a princess and born in luxuries, she was very devoted to her husband, and she was like, I'm your wife and we are one, so I am going to accompany you to the forest. I'm abandoning this palace and going with you. So Sita and Ram go into the forest along with Ram's brother Lakshman. One day, during their time in the forest, there's this demon called Ravana. He is the king of Lanka. He's a huge devotee of Lord Shiva, but he has committed atrocities and R-worded SA'd a lot of different women and has abducted women from different sages and the wives of other people, even though he himself was married to a queen named Mandodari, but we'll get into that later. The issue here is that Ravana abused his power as a demon and as a shapeshifter in order to get what he wanted through his selfish deeds. So what he essentially did is that he shapeshifted into a sage. What was customary at the time during ancient India was that sages came begging for food. They went to houses and they would ask, do you have any food? And it was charitable and very pious to give food to a sage. And so Ravana, in the shape of a sage, he went to Sita's hut and tried to convince her to get out of the hut so that he could kidnap her. And because Sita herself is a pious woman, she, tried to give food to the sage, in this case Ravana, and Ravana took this opportunity and kidnapped her and took her to Lanka and tried to make her his wife, but she refused because she was very devoted and loved Lord Ram. After all, they were husband and wife, and she refused to eat, she refused to sleep, she just kept chanting the name of Lord Ram. Eventually, with the help of the monkeys and Lord Hanuman is the devotee of Lord Ram, he's the monkey god, along with a monkey army and even a squirrel, they built the bridge using rocks all the way to Lanka, and with Hanuman's help, they eventually rescue Sita and defeat Ravana. Now, what does this mean? Why am I sharing this story? Despite the challenges of Lord Ram being exiled away from his palace, being separated from Sita, Sita being abducted by doing pious deeds, and Sita also abandoning her luxurious life as princess even though she didn't have to, and the courage and devotion of the monkey army towards Lord Ram and determined to save Princess Sita from the hands of Ravana tells you that no matter how many difficulties or obstacles there are in life, good will always triumph. Even in the Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata, which is another epic of ancient India, it is said that wherever Lord Krishna is where Dharma is, meaning righteousness. God is wherever righteousness is, no matter how dark the circumstances. And so, I want you guys to take that into consideration in this upcoming new year, 2026. Now, I talked about the Ramayana as well, because it mentions the occasion of war. Lord Ram is only able to defeat Ravana through war. If you guys have read the Valmiki Ramayana, which is the original one, there are multiple versions, but in the Valmiki Ramayana, there's 6 books, and one of the books is called Yuddhakanda, meaning the Book of War. And so that's where, Lord Ram defeats Ravana, despite Ravana, almost seeming to be invincible because of his shape-shifting powers and his devotion towards Lord Shiva, which has granted him many boons and wishes. What I'm trying to say here is 2025 also seemed a year of war, which is also one of the reasons why I described it as a revolution. See, earlier this year, there were a lot of protests. In fact, throughout the year, there was the No King's Day protests. There were the revolution in Nepal caused by Gen Z. And I believe in Kenya as well, there were Gen Z protests, but they weren't talked about in the media. I came across that in an article somewhere. And yeah, there was just a lot of protests created by Gen Z. We fight to make a better future for ourselves and for other people after us. Just like how people did in the 60s and in the 70s. And we are not afraid of change. We embrace change. But in order for change and progress to happen, there needs to be revolution. Revolution doesn't necessarily mean war, like the French Revolution or the American Revolution. If anything, these revolutions, these wars, only started because people sparked new ideas, new beginnings, freedom, independence. It all started from an idea, which then spread through communication and word of mouth, and gathered enough people to unite and fight for a certain cause. Just as how Gen Z, for these past couple of years, we have been fighting, donating, volunteering, speaking up about it despite censorship. And so I believe that 2025 was the year of revolution, or at least the year that is sparking the revolution. Because this is just the beginning, in my opinion. Now, I also mentioned at the beginning of this video that everything happens for a reason. Again, this is my spiritual and philosophical side speaking. But also, I say this because of history. Throughout history, I don't know if your history teachers have ever taught you guys this, but history teachers, at least mine, have always taught me that everything has a cause and effect. Causation. So, like, for example, the cause of the American Revolution, if anything, was the tension between the British and the Patriots. The Patriots wanted freedom from taxes and, freedom from British rule. And so they used the Boston Massacre, they used a lot of propaganda, they used the Declaration of Independence, which then led to the battles that came after, the Lexington and Concord battle, the Battle of Yorktown in 1781, and so on and so forth. And similarly in 2025, not only was there protests and revolution due to the amount of oppression that the people have been struggling with these past couple of years, but a lot of people ask themselves, why this president? Why these leaders? And despite them being evil, I believe that there was a cause. If these presidents weren't evil, these presidents didn't do the things that they were doing, or committing the crimes that they weren't doing, then we as a people wouldn't have gathered the courage to fight them. We would have been complacent, we would have been fearful, we would have ignored or been blind to things, shady things that were going on behind the scenes. And similarly, there were deaths of certain celebrities that were talked about. And I actually learned about these cases recently, so it surprises me how much information is being censored. But people are no longer being quiet. The more you try to suppress something, the more you try to silence something, the more it'll erupt. The more you try to oppress people, the more people will speak up and gather the courage to speak up, to say the truth, to be courageous. Now, I want to put a warning for what I'm about to say next, but there have been cases this year, 2 celebrities' deaths that sort of impacted me a lot this year. There have been a lot, but 2 of them impacted me the most. The names are Zubeen Garg and Alan Yu, or as some people call him, Yu Menglong. So Zubeen Garg was a singer from India. He spoke his mind. He was very unique. He donated his money to the people of Assam. He spoke in multiple different languages. But the reason why his case impacted me the most was he was a young, pure soul. He cared about his people. He cared about the people he was surrounded with. And there were videos leaked how the people who surrounded him at his time of unaliving, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, alleged, everything is alleged, okay, apparently no one did anything to help him when he was drowning. I believe his wife was seeking justice for him, and I felt like he didn't get the justice he deserved. Like, what actually caused his tragic passing, okay? And another death that impacted me the most was Yu Menglong, or Alan Yu, some people call him. The reason why I know about this guy is because I was actually watching this Chinese drama called Eternal Love, and I'm obsessed with Chinese drama, specifically that one in particular. That one was my second favorite, the second drama I ever watched. And Alan Yu was in that drama. And when the reports first came out, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, and by the way, if you want to find out more about this, I would recommend not looking into his tragic passing, just because it is graphic and a lot of the things are unconfirmed. But he was in China. In China, the CCP is known to censor information, and apparently he was in an apartment at a party, and he was found tragically passed away. And so after his death, it was ruled that he was drunk. But if you are a fan of him, you would know he was someone very disciplined and someone who never drank. So it was very weird. Not to mention the windows in the apartment are hard to break, and they're very strong, so everything was just so fishy. But what I'm saying about his death is that his death uncovered a lot of things which I cannot say on this YouTube channel. And a lot of the foreign media has picked up on it. You know it's bad when the foreign media, international media, is picking up on things being said in China. I'm not saying that he wasn't famous enough internationally. I'm just saying how his death led to so many secrets being revealed about the Chinese government and the entertainment industry. And that's one of the reasons why it impacted me the most, is I believe that everything happens for a reason. Even the bad things. There's a reason that these things happen. Had it not happened this way, we wouldn't have known about a lot of secrets being exposed. We wouldn't have known about these certain entertainment industries and how they function, how they treat their celebrities with inhumanity. We wouldn't know how these governments are corrupt and try to censor information every time and any time that they can. Now, I will say though, everything is alleged, and there's rumors that spread everywhere. because of the internet. So be wary of that as well. But still, I believe that everything has a purpose. Everything happens for a reason. Hello y'all, Editor Rainbow here. I did want to sort of clarify the statement that everything happens for a reason. Logically speaking, yes, things happen for a reason, such as in history, right? But what I mean is everything happens for a reason when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture. So a lot of the deaths that I talked about have shed light on things that were hidden. And that's what I meant by that. But I also know that people, whenever you tell people that everything happens for a reason after a tragic event, people can get offended. It is not my intention to offend anybody. I just want to apologize for that. I know that I speak from a spiritual, philosophical perspective because that's who I am. That's how I believe things to be. But I also don't want to insinuate that these things needed to happen in order for things to happen the way that they're happening now, if that makes sense. That any of these tragedies are okay. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we should learn to use these tragedies in order to prevent things from happening again. I hope I'm making sense right now. What I mean is, if one star or celebrity or whoever, right, has tragically lost their lives in this manner, and we have the capability of uncovering the truth, having evidence, speaking up for justice, having the courage to speak up, then we should do that. We should do our duty to help others and prevent these things from happening again. When these big events happen, it's a wake-up call for us. It's not for us to, oh, okay, let's just move on with our lives and ignore the problem. No, it's for us to fix the issue and address the issue and fix it and come with a solution so that none of these other tragedies happen to other people. So yeah, I just thought I should clarify that. I don't mean to be insensitive or offensive to anybody. Again, my condolences to anybody who is affected by these tragedies or anyone affected in general. I also would like to add, please sign this petition that you guys see on the screen. Please, let's help get him justice. That petition will be down in the description down below, so feel free to go check it out. It'll also be in the pinned comment, so make sure to go sign the petition. Also, if you are going to research or look up any footage related to any of these cases, I am just putting a discretion warning. Please do not look at these if you're not over the age of 18, because they can be pretty graphic. Also, a lot of the information is unconfirmed. There are rumors and misinformation that is being spread at this time, so just be wary of that. My best place to start, if you guys want a whole summary of these cases, would be to go to the Rotten Mango podcast, available on Spotify and YouTube. So again, feel free to watch that, but be advised. Some of the things that are said are very graphic, so just be warned. Alright, now back to the video. This year sort of reminded me of the Hunger Games. You know how, I don't know if you guys have read or have seen the Hunger Games movies. Spoilers, by the way, if you guys haven't read or seen the movies, but I feel that it is important to talk about the analogies here. So, in the first Hunger Games book and in the movie, Katniss makes an alliance with Rue. Rue is very younger than Katniss. However, in the Hunger Games, Rue tragically dies, and Katniss holds the three-finger salute, which is a tribute, like a salute, a very famous salute in her district. And Rue is from District 11. And after they see how Katniss treats Rue with so much dignity and respect in the Hunger Games, District 11 gathers the courage to fight back against the peacemakers, and they start causing riots and chaos. District 11 forms an alliance with District 12 because they send bread to Katniss in order for her to win the games, in order for her to survive. And I believe that if it wasn't for Rue's death, Katniss wouldn't have been able to fight against the Capitol, but specifically President Snow. On top of that, Katniss only made it in the Hunger Games when she volunteered in order to save her sister Prim. If it wasn't for Prim, if it wasn't for Rue, if it wasn't for a lot of the innocent tragic lives lost, Katniss wouldn't have become the Mockingjay. She wouldn't have become the symbol for revolution and fight against the Capitol and their leaders. Similarly, in Harry Potter, Harry Potter was chosen as the chosen one because when Voldemort tried to kill him, he never died. On top of that, I don't know if you guys have seen the Deathly Hallows or the older, not the older, what's it called? The darker movies. Right, I'm talking Half-Blood Prince, I'm talking Deathly Hallows. My favorite is The Order of the Phoenix and Prisoner of Azkaban. But the reason why I'm talking about these movies is because they get dark. They get dark. And the reason they get dark is because Voldemort starts to gain power and creates chaos and control and fear, just as we are witnessing right now. Voldemort tries to create fear and kills people, innocent people, and a lot of people serve him, not out of loyalty, but out of fear. Even when the Dark Lord chooses one of the families, which I believe were the Malfoys, even the Malfoys were afraid of him, because they knew the cost, they knew the price of their lives if they were to serve the Dark Lord. Now what's similar is that Lord Voldemort and President Snow have incredible power. They have incredible control over everything. Voldemort in the Deathly Hallows infiltrates the Ministry, aka the government in Harry Potter, in the Harry Potter universe. And President Snow is the president in the Capitol. He controls the propaganda. He actually is the one who invented the idea that the deaths of the tributes should be televised as entertainment in order to dehumanize them. What they both have in common is that they use fear. They use control as tactics in order to suppress the people, in order to make sure that the people never fight against them. But they are both cowards because they do things for their selfish deeds. And Katniss and Harry Potter are the foil or the opposite of these characters. Katniss is chosen as the Mockingjay to fight against President Snow. Harry Potter is chosen to fight against Voldemort. If you look at these stories, you would think, oh well, this is just a war between Harry Potter and Voldemort. This is just a battle between President Snow and Katniss. In the Ramayana, you would think, oh, this is just a battle between Ravana and Lord Ram. However, if you zoom out and you look at these same stories, you would see that there's a bigger cause than just the chosen one versus the chosen villain. It's a battle between good and evil. Evil exists so that good can destroy it. And in the battle of good and evil, good always triumphs, despite the struggles, despite the sacrifices. But in order for good to triumph, there must be people willing to sacrifice, willing to step up and be courageous, people willing to fight back. Just as how the people at Hogwarts, in the Battle of Hogwarts, fought against the Dark Death Eaters. Just as how the monkeys, the monkey army, King Sugriv, Lord Hanuman, helped Lord Ram defeat Ravana. Just as how Haymitch and Cinna and all of these different people, Peeta as well, contributed to Katniss being the Mockingjay and contributed to Katniss defeating President Snow at the end of the day. These fights tell us that good always triumphs over evil. Despite the darkness, despite the sacrifices, despite the obstacles, good always wins. But it doesn't seem that way when we are living in dark times. And this is my advice for you guys in 2026. Things will get darker. I'm not going to lie to you. Things will get darker. This is natural when we are in times of revolution. I believe that perhaps this is just the spiritual side of me, but I believe that we are currently facing a battle between good and evil. And I think I came to that conclusion after these recent tragedies this year. And I want to tell you guys that it's okay to be scared. It is valid. After all, it is an emotion. But don't let fear control you. Have courage. Have courage. Don't be a coward. Have courage. Here's the difference between someone who's a coward and someone who's not. A coward is someone who, when faced with a problem, they run away from it. But someone who's courageous, despite them being scared, despite them being so afraid, they are able to confront those problems. They're able to face their fears. The one who's truly brave is the one that faces those fears, not the one who runs away from them and avoids them. So just remember that the next time you feel scared, the next time you feel like you're not good enough to fight, the next time you feel helpless, remember your strengths. Remember your power. Remember your strength and your courage. Even if you have nothing, like no money, no fame, if you have courage, that is more than enough. In fact, that is the greatest thing you can possess, especially in these times. And I want to leave you with another thing. 2026 is another year, a new fresh start, a new beginning. And it will get dark, yes. Because I believe that 2025 is just the beginning for these things that are happening. But just remember, and I'm going to leave you guys with a quote from Harry Potter. Now, I will say, I forgot to mention this probably, but disclaimer, I do not support the ideas of this author, specifically the transphobic ideas, okay? However, I do believe that her piece of literature is still impactful to this day and should be talked about, at least in the context of what I'm speaking of in this year. But anyway, here's 2 quotes from the Harry Potter series that I would like for you guys to take with you into 2026. And the first one is, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. And the second one is, we've all got both light and dark inside of us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are. So what do I mean by this? In the midst of darkness, we think that everything is lost. It's a lost hope. It's a lost cause. But if we focus on the light, and the light at the end of the tunnel, we can find hope again. It is in darkness that light shines the brightest. And as for the other quote, we all have light and dark. We all can be good and evil. But it's one's choice to be good or to be evil that determines who we truly are. It's our choices that determine our character, not our personality. If you do good things, good choices with good intentions, then you will be in the path of good. And because you are good, people will naturally help you. But if you make bad choices, bad decisions, then you will be in the other path of evil. And people will fear you. But the more ego you gain, the more you think you're invincible, like Ravana in the Ramayana, then your death is certain. Your destruction is certain. And lastly, I do want to leave you guys, of course, with a quote from the Bhagavad Gita, specifically from chapter 6, verse 40, which says, "This means the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna said, O Parth, one who engages on the spiritual path does not meet with destruction either in this world or the world to come. My dear friend, one who strives for God realization is never overcome by evil." There's another simpler translation of this verse, which means, O Partha, neither in this world nor in the next is there destruction for him. My dear, one who performs virtuous deeds never ends in adversity. And also, one of the quotes from the Buddha, I will also read to you. And it says, if a man lives a pure life, nothing can destroy him. So the reason why I'm saying these quotes is because if you're on the path of good, if you're on the path of righteousness, then why are you worried? Why are you scared? You will live forever. Your good actions cause a greater ripple effect than those who commit evil crimes. Those who commit or do good deeds are considered auspicious people, are always respected, or always revered, treated with respect. And you want to know why? Because In this path of evil, in this path of fear, the hardest thing that one can do is speak up against this evil, to walk away from this path, to break free from the chains of deception. That is the hardest thing one can do, and especially confronting their own fears, confronting their evil nature. It's not always easy to be good. It's not always easy to be kind. But if you choose to do so, despite the hardships, despite the constant torture that one experiences, despite the darkness, despite this pain, this suffering, the struggles, if one chooses, because kindness is always a choice, if one chooses to be good, to be righteous, to be kind, then you have an unbreakable spirit that no matter what type of test you will be put through, you will always achieve anything you want. You will always emerge victorious due to your kind deeds, due to your courage. So have courage and be kind. Not just this year, throughout your life. No one is forced to be good, but when one chooses to be good, they will always be victorious. They will always achieve the eternal life. Being good isn't about following a certain religion. In the Ramayana, Lord Ravana was a devotee of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a very powerful god, and he loves all his devotees. Despite Ravana having such great knowledge, great power, and being a great devotee of Lord Shiva, one of the greatest gods in Hinduism, despite him being on the path and creating the Shiva Tandava Stotram, beautiful composition, despite having this great immense love and bhakti, this devotion towards Lord Shiva, and being a religious person, he still abducted someone's wife. He still hurt multiple women. He still did evil deeds. Religion doesn't make you a good or bad person. Your actions do. Your karma, your actions, your deeds. Your deeds, your choices make you the difference between a good and a bad person, not your religion. You can claim to be a certain religion, but if you don't respect the teachings of your religion, or at least do good deeds, if you're not a good person, in the sense that you're not doing good deeds or that you're not respecting or loving the people around you, then you're not a good person. And for those of you who are atheists, which I'm sure there's going to be plenty of you who watch this video, you guys might be like, well, I don't have a religion. Does that make me good or bad? No. That does not make you evil. That does not make you any less than those who do have a religion. Like I said before, oh my gosh, it's thundering as I'm saying this. Like I said before, your actions are what determine you to be a good or bad person, not your religion. Not how many times you pray a day, not how many times you conduct pujas and yajnas, like rituals and Vedic mantras. You can recite all of the scriptures. You can know the Bible like the back of your hand. You can know all the Vedas, all the religious scriptures, the Buddhist scriptures. But if you don't understand them and if you don't apply them to your everyday life, then there's no point. I'm just saying, be virtuous, be moral, or at least be good. Be good. That's the least you can do in this world. Be good, be kind, have courage. Don't harm people, and if you do so, apologize. Ask for forgiveness. But if you're not genuine, then people won't respect you. People will laugh at you. People will make fun of you. Some people consider us to be God's instruments. We are temples. We are our own altars. As much as you should do good for others and respect others and do good in this world, you should also respect yourself. Give love to yourself. Have courage for yourself. Take those lessons with you in this upcoming year, 2026. And don't despair. Whatever you do, don't despair. So again, follow your own conscience, your own morals, your own values. Follow your righteousness, your moral compass. Follow your heart, follow your soul. Also, I want to add a quick note here, Editor Rainbow here from the future. So I recorded this episode on Diwali, but this episode won't come out until El Día de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead. And I want to talk a little bit about the Day of the Dead celebration. For those of you that don't know, I am Mexican. And one of the celebrations that Mexicans celebrate is the Day of the Dead. So, what is the Day of the Dead? The Day of the Dead is a celebration in which we honor our ancestors. It comes from Aztec traditions that have been intermixed with Catholic traditions and religions. So, for example, the Aztecs built altars to honor their ancestors. We would offer food, water, um, this flower called the cempasúchil, also known as the marigold flower, and it is believed that the petals of the marigold flower would help the spirits of the underworld, which is where the lost ones would go back to their home and find their way home. So we would put flower petals on the ground so that we can welcome in the spirits. We honor our ancestors or any loved one that has passed away, any person that has tragically passed away, any loved ones, right? This is where we light candles, but we don't do it like how Americans or other people do it, where they dress in black and have a funeral. The Day of the Dead is not a celebration of death, but a celebration of life. We honor the life of those we have lost, and we honor their essence, we honor their souls, we honor who they are. No matter what your religion is or what you are, what you believe in, take this time to pray for any loved ones, any person that you know has a trapped soul somewhere, any person who needs to find the light. At this time, during these auspicious holidays of Diwali and Day of the Dead or Dia de los Muertos, what's interesting is that both of them celebrate victory over evil, light over darkness, love over hate, and both of them honor life in some similar ways. And so, yeah, just pray. If you are a religious person, pray to whoever you believe in, the universe, whatever, or just think of your loved ones, honor them, cherish them, light a candle for them if you have no religion, right? If you don't believe in anything, which is fine, light a candle, pray for them, have them in your thoughts, and may any souls find their light, find their way to the light, find their way to wherever it is that they want to be in. And may all souls be liberated. But yeah, Happy New Year. And I hope you guys have an amazing 2026, or at least a good year. And please stay safe. Please stay protected. Okay, I'm wishing all of you guys good health, good blessings, prosperity, abundance, and love. We all need love in this day and age. And I'm not talking about relationships, I'm talking about love as in self-love. I wish you all happiness, I wish you all peace, I wish you all good fortune, and everything auspicious in this life. Truly, I hope you guys have an amazing year. Like I said, please take these messages not just for this year, but for the rest of your life, and carry them with you so that you can create change in this world and create an impact by just your existence. But yeah, I think that's it for this video. Again, I apologize that this is long, but this needed to be said. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for everything. And until next time, peace and love. Rainbow out.